Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1185A, and today's date is January 23rd, 2017, and the title of the episode is The Last Two Times the SKEW Was This High, the Market Plunged. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, lately we've been hearing a lot about how Trump is making deals with many different companies to bring jobs back to America. And it sounds fantastic on the surface. You know, jobs coming back to America, factories being built, billions of dollars being invested in the country. But right now, it's just talk. No jobs have been created. No factories have been built. And we get a strange announcement from IBM. Now, IBM announced in December that it's going to hire 25,000 workers in the U.S. Now, this is very interesting because IBM right now is laying off workers, and all the laid off workers are saying, well, wait a minute. We're getting laid off, or we are already laid off, and you're going to be hiring 25,000 people in the U.S.? What's wrong with this picture? Now, all of this doesn't make sense. I know the car companies are saying that, yes, they're going to be building manufacturing plants. They're going to be bringing workers back and giving them jobs in America. Walmart's going to be creating 10,000 jobs. They're going to be building stores all over the place. Well, this is all very suspicious because, first of all, the car companies, their sales aren't there. And right now, it looks like they're topping off and things are starting to decline. In retail, well, that's a complete disaster in itself. And we can see that all these companies that are promising this, well, I don't know if they can deliver at this point, because if we look at IBM, for instance, revenues in the fourth quarter fell to $21.8 billion. This is the 19th quarter in a row, year over year, that they've seen declines. In 2016, their revenues fell 2%. This is why they're laying off people. Actually, corporations, they're not seeing profits right now. This is why they're laying off people, buying back their own stock, pushing their stock prices up. And we're seeing that all these companies are making promises, and most likely they will not be able to keep them. So IBM is out there, and they're giving us a lot of ifs. Spokesman Doug Shelton told Bloomberg about hiring those 25,000 people as the layoffs would also continue. Well, that doesn't make sense. If we are able to fill these positions, he said, and that could be a big if IBM doesn't want to fill the positions, we expect IBM U.S. employment to be up over that period. Up by what? 10? 1,000? He didn't even say. But it's all a big if. And right now, the sales, well, they're not supporting all of this. Retail sales is not supporting building more stores, adding people. We need to go to the heart of the problem. Just having companies say, listen, I'm going to tax you on the border unless you create jobs. Well, guess what? They can promise everything. They didn't even explain when the time frame would be. Oh, yes, we're going to create jobs maybe in the next 10 years. Yes, some said a little bit sooner, but none of them really nailed down what they're going to do. They're just going along with the flow. And until they start actually hiring people, well, it's just words once again. Now, Trump, he has signed 3 executive orders. Well, he ended the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is good, because we discussed that in length in other reports. He also did a hiring freeze for the federal government. And the 3rd executive order is limiting abortion funding overseas. So already he is taking action, cutting expenses. Is this a good thing? Well, we'll have to wait and see. He just started. Now, I'm not for Trump. I'm not for Obama. I'm not for Clinton. I'm for a president who's going to work for the people. Not for special interest groups. Not for the central bankers. Not for any other country. Because everything they do in this office, the president, Congress, should be for the benefit of the people, period. That's it. And these individuals who are there should listen to the people. Now, what we're seeing from Trump is he's following through on some of his promises. And this is surprising because most politicians, they really don't. Now, he's saying that he's going to impose a very major border tax, and he's going to cut regulation by 75%. Now, this is very big. We'll have to see if he can do that. And some are saying that the World Trade Commission, well, it's against the World Trade Commission to actually have a border tax. So we'll have to see if this is true, if he actually can go through with this. He's also saying that he's going to renegotiate NAFTA. Well, again, a lot of words. Nothing has been done just yet. And what we're seeing is that the central bank, the elite, well, they're going to fight at every turn, no matter what. Because remember, there's two different agendas going on here. There's the globalists, and then Trump with what he wants to do. Now, it looks like to me that Trump is trying to set up the elite, the central bank, saying that I'm trying to bring back jobs. And we can see that he might be doing this, and it could be a lot of propaganda out there where he's trying to push this through to make everyone, think that, yes, this is what's happening, because he knows the economy is pretty much dead in the water. Nothing has really changed at all. Actually, things are getting worse. And you just can't create jobs out of thin air if nobody has the funds to purchase those goods. And if companies aren't making the money, well, you just can't have companies saying, okay, we're going to take out a loan and create these jobs, and we're going to produce a product, and the rest of the country, they're still out of work. And the debt keeps getting larger and larger and larger. It's not going to work. I think we need to go to the heart of the problem once again, and that is the central bank, that is the debt. How this country is run from the Federal Reserve. How the rest of the world is run by the central bank. Unless we do that, all this stuff is just talk. Because we can see over the years what is improved. What? We have ups and downs? People lose their wealth? People lose their pensions? But what has really improved over the years? Has the value of the dollar gotten better? Can you buy the same amount as you could have back then when you had the penny and the dollar? Back in 1913, 1905? No, you can't. Actually, the dollar's continually losing value. So things are actually getting worse. So we see there are many countries that are in a huge amount of debt. Now, the United States is not number 1. They are number 10. They did make the top 10 list. And what we're seeing right now is that Americans have been on a borrowing binge. They've been buying their favorite cars, their trucks, and they loaded up on about $1.14 trillion in auto loans. And we can see right now those individuals that have student loans, they're up to $1.28 trillion. Credit card is up to about $1.12 trillion. Mortgages are at $8.82 trillion. So total household debt is at $12 trillion. This is unbelievable right now. The country is swamped in debt, but the number one country, I should say, is Switzerland. 127.7% of GDP. Denmark, 123%. Australia, 123%. So when we look at this, we can see these countries are in a huge amount of debt. And the debt continually grows. Now, Schiller is out there, and they are warning that the U.S. stock market, well, this is based on the Trump effect illusion. The entire market is based on illusion. And yes, it has gone up since he's president because people have hope. People are thinking that things are going to be great. And then reality is going to set in. Reality is going to be nothing's changed. Absolutely nothing has changed. And you just can't turn this economy around on a dime. It doesn't work. Especially when you have the debt load and interest rates so low. I mean, think about all the other countries that have this huge amount of debt that we were just talking about. Finland, Spain, Greece, all these countries, Australia, Netherlands, Canada, Norway. Guess what? Their interest rates are near zero, and they have a huge amount of debt. And the central banks are creating currency. This is a major problem because if interest rates move up just a little bit, 1%, 2%, 3%, that's it. These countries are toast. Now we see option traders right now, they are pricing in the third highest chance of a black swan in crash history. And we can see right now the SKEW, which they're looking at, well, this is calculated from prices of the S&P 500 out of the money options. SKEW typically ranges from 100 to 150. A SKEW value of about 100 means that the perceived distribution of the S&P 500 long returns is normal, and the probability of an outlier return is therefore negligible. As the SKEW rises above 100, the left tail of the S&P 500 distribution acquires more weight, and the probabilities of outlier returns become more significant. And what we're seeing right now is that we have a SKEW which is over 100. It's at 146. Markets have only been more fearful of a collapse twice in its 27-year history. And here we are once again. And we saw this before. And the last two times this happened, the market plunged. And then a little while later, a couple months, the market moved back up. Now, remember, we were talking about collapses before in previous reports where we talked about this is going to be a two-phase collapse. And what we're seeing right now is that the market is signaling that it's coming down. And we see the IMF, who is saying that, yes, 2017 looks like there's going to be problems because of Trump's policies, because of the Brexit and many other countries that are looking to leave the EU. This might cause a disruption in the economy. The Fed is already out there saying, listen, the labor market doesn't look as strong as we thought. It's starting to cool down, and there's not much hiring going on anymore. So they're already building the narrative of what is coming. And we know what's coming. We've been tracking this. We know what's happening right now. We know the state of the real economy. Well, the real economy, and I'm not talking about the manipulated numbers that the government puts out there, because we went through all these numbers. We broke them down. We realized they are completely manipulated, and we know how they manipulate them. What the real economy shows us, it's coming down. It's going to collapse one way or another. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.